Hi guys, welcome to week 7 of distance learning. And I did just want to walk you through this. It's 3 different pieces, and I just wanted to have a disclaimer, just FYI. We're going to be figuring out what evidence we have for piecing together Pangea. For those of you that aren't familiar with Pangea, you will learn as we go along. But it is going to be one of those times where you're not necessarily going to know the answer. You're going to try to figure it out yourself, because ideally, that's really the best way that you're going to learn. Much, much better than if we just tell you stuff. So don't be afraid if you're a little confused. Don't be afraid if you don't know the right answer. Just be a risk taker and try your best. That's what we're looking for this week. So first of all, Invest Showcase. Number 1, thank you to those of you that did post on Padlet. It's been awesome to see all of your products from both teams. And what we want you guys to do is to comment once on 3 different people's posts. So for a total of 3 different comments. So 2 of your comments should be specific things that you liked about their solutions, and just saying something like "it's cool" or "that's awesome" is not very specific. So remember, when we're talking about all of our peer editing, the more specific you can be, the better. So I loved how you created a video. It looked super professional. The transitions were awesome, and I liked how informative it was. Like, that's the kind of comment you should be posting. So do that for 2 people's products, and then for a 3rd person's products, you're going to comment a question that you have. Like, maybe it's like, oh, was this difficult for your family to do? Or how did you make that turtle out of clay? So you can ask us question to a specific person. However, we recognize that there's a lot of you that have a lot of friends, and of course you're welcome to post and comment more times than 3, but we do want to spread the love. So there is a limit of 5 comments per product. So if a product already has 5 comments, move on and do not comment on it. We're trying to spread the love to make sure that everybody's project gets comments and feedback on it. Also, when you post your comment, please put your initials like JF and then also put your team, so Team F, so that we know who you are and can keep track of how many comments have been made. So that's it for the Invest Showcase. Also, we did want some feedback on Invest. We recognize that the stay-at-home edition was very different than what you guys all intended, but for those of you that completed it, we do have 2 questions for you. For those of you that did not complete it, we do have a question, why not? So some of you guys started it and you never finished it, and so we just want to know why. Was it challenging? Was it difficult? So for those of you who did do it, what did you enjoy about it? And then what could we as teachers change about Invest for the future? It could be what you think about Invest in general, the way that it was intended, where you were going to go out and do a beach cleanup or whatever. Or it could be maybe you really liked the stay-at-home thing and it actually made you think really differently about how you use your stuff, and your family actually really learned a lot from it. So that would mean that we would change so that we focus more on giving you options to do at home. And so yeah, just give us your feedback so that we can know how to improve it. And we know that distance learning and having stay-at-home orders complicated things, so please don't write that down as the thing that you would change. We know that already. But thank you for your feedback. We really appreciate it, and we are going to use it to make next year better. So these are your 4 activities this week. Number 1, it is the great puzzle. Number 2 is piecing together Pangea, and then number 3 is an investigation, and then number 4 is choice board. And like I said, disclaimer, you may get confused, and you can always join us for office hours too, and we can talk to you about stuff. And we're not looking for right answers, we're just looking for thought and effort. So this is part 1, the great puzzle. You have learned about how geologists use index fossils to match up timelines across the continents, but then the question is, how do they end up across different continents in the first place, and how do they end up with a giant ocean separating them? Especially if the idea is that they were all made at the same time, and we can tell that because of index fossils. How did they end up in the places where they are? So what you're going to do is look at some fossil evidence that we have. These are 5 different species of fossils that we have from across the world. And then we give you a brief explanation for what that species is, and you're just going to try to figure out, for instance, how did Glossopteris, which is this plant right here, it's a fern, how did it wind up across so many different continents? And there's numerous ways that this could have happened. So we're just looking for thought, and just try your best. The second one is going to be the Canamyrid. So it looks like this. It actually had a beak and it had two fangs almost. And it was 9 feet long and it was an herbivore. So if you look at the key, Canamyrid is this gray one. So it lived in North America, South America, Africa, and Asia. So the question is, how did it come to be on 4 separate continents? It couldn't swim. So what are your options for how it ended up where it did? So that's what you're going to write down over here. And then the last one is continental coastlines. So this is our geologic evidence. Besides fossils, we can actually look at the coastlines of the different countries or the different continents and see, does that give us any clue as to how this land animal from the last slide wound up on so many different continents? And you're just going to, again, take your best guess, and that's going to be it. So this is part 1. I'm going to post another video for part 2 and for part 3. So stay tuned.